Okay, so we started the stream. So, we learned a lot yesterday. I had gotten off really quickly, I'm sorry. But, with Takanomio, of course. God, I didn't say a lot yesterday, even though we read through a lot. Because, honestly, it was, for me, reading through Mio's thoughts, I hated Takano when we first went through, when I first went through MatsuriBayashi in the anime. I hated Takano. Hated her guts. Thought, oh, you're another stupid bitch with a god complex, light Yagami. So annoying. And then you actually read through her thoughts, and, when you get in her mind, or in her head, and it's like, oh. No, actually, it's heartbreaking. I remember when I first read through, when I first watched Naruto when I was 9 years old, and there was the part with Haku, and Haku was yeah, I wanted to die for Zabuza, and Takano is talking about this to her grandfather. Oh my god. It's the same feeling that I get that made me look through certain stories, because there's certain things that I started really, I just like it when I don't know what it was, but something like that. It really draws me to moments in a story, or it just draws me. If you want me to pay attention, that's definitely one way to do it. I mean, that was the first time, but the way that Takano feels about her grandpa, even if her goals are corrupted, I think the thing is just when it comes to stories like that, it's her devotion and her love for her grandpa. She just loves him so much. And obviously, girl needs therapy. She shouldn't be traumatizing herself, and she shouldn't be doing all these terrible things, but she is. Alright? She is. Okay. It's just how it is. Alright? Before we officially begin, I didn't get to talk about my feelings on what was happening in the reading, because a lot happened. I was crying 3 times. You heard my voice. I'm like, crap, I accidentally messed up on Takano Hifumi's part when I was supposed to read it as Takano. It was getting to me. Usually I don't mess up that bad, but it was getting to me. And oh my god, I swear I was about to I could not cry. I could not let myself cry too much. I had to. I just remember that part with "Dear You Destructive Plays," where you destructive plays, and Takano talks about a certain will creates a certain future. Absolute, but of course, a witch of certainty. I kind of wish that the manga gamer kind of used certain instead of absolute, because Sadako uses certainty. In the sense of Lambda Delta is the witch of certainty. I think it would have fit a little better in that sense, but it's okay. Absolute certainty, I suppose, is fine. Yeah, sorry that I had to go on. I'm going on a tangent in the beginning of the stream. That's just okay. That's what I'm gonna do. I didn't get to address my feelings, and maybe someday I will address more of my feelings about whatever is going on. But that's just what I wanted to say. But yeah, what else did I want to say? Oh, also, I wasn't bored. I was trying to read the war thing and the political thing. Did you see? I was struggling to read through that. In the other stream, I was oh my god, it's so boring. I can't make myself give a shit. I just can't. I've read through it once before already. and I read it with full energy. But once I learned that information once, and I can learn it in history class, my caring goes to zero. I was struggling as much as I could to read through it. Okay, if I didn't think it was important, I wouldn't have read through it at all. Okay, but I thought I'm gonna read through it because I think that I don't know. But yeah. Anything else I want to add or say? Right. Like, there were just times I just wanted to freaking cry when I was reading last night. With reading Takano's thing. Also, Takano Kinney moment when it's like, curse you, God! Oh man, I remember when I was 6 years old, I was yelling at God. I had different reasons, because I have, like, my own thing against Christianity. Not Christian. It's just that there were people who didn't want to play with me because, oh my God, my religion says that not to play with you because something. And I'm like, well, I don't believe in God. And, like, the kids were like, oh, I was 6 years old, okay? And then they're like, oh, you're gonna go to hell if you don't believe in God. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to hell because I don't believe in something? Not because I would, like, do bad things. Apparently it's really important that I do, that I believe in God more than anything else. Like, it's not my actions that would, no, it's believing in God. Oh, okay. I see. That's where the priorities lie. I could be the goodest person ever, the greatest person ever, and I'm gonna go to hell. Screw you. Anyway, I have like a different relationship with religion and all that stuff. I'm personally agnostic, so I don't know if he exists or not. Okay, and I don't care to debate it. I don't care to debate this stuff. Let's just hop into Higurashi now. Oh, and I feel a lot better than yesterday, so I probably won't be shifting around or whatnot. Oh, you get to see the beautiful intro, the moon. Now, let's begin. Welcome. Welcome to the world of Higurashi, Chapter 8, MatsuriBayashi. In this world, you will be able to recreate the story from Hanyu's point of view. Your objective is to create the June 1983 ideal to you. You will need to collect many different fragments to make that possible. However, Takano's conviction is very strong. To overturn it, you will need a lot of effort and a lot of fragments. I'll warn you right now. It'll be a slow and painful process. Hanyu went through it for over 100 years. She even had to stop and give in to fate. Defeating Takano's conviction will not be easy. The trial in this world will put you through as much pain as Hanyu had to endure. You may surrender just like Hanyu did, after being emotionally worn down by the constant repetition of the worlds woven by countless fragments. When you feel like surrendering, you can end this game at any time. But if you do, the worlds revolving around your friend's fate will be limited to Onikakushi through Minagoroshi. By forgetting about this world and uninstalling this product, you will finally accept death, just like Rika did. Your ideal June 1983 can be created by putting together 50 fragments that are scattered all over this world. To connect these fragments together, you will need the right ones. There are 50 of them, which may be dizzying. However, this world isn't that merciless. To ease your pain, there will be a little help for you. When you choose the wrong pieces, your only ally here will give you a sign that it's not yet time to put those fragments together. As long as the sign remains, you won't be able to connect them. You might as well go look for different ones. After you put other fragments together, you might be able to connect the ones you couldn't put together earlier. When that happens, she'll let you know. Let's put those fragments together, then you'll be able to join the other ones too. When you connect all 50, they'll become one big fragment. There you'll find your ideal June 1983. That's when the long-awaited MatsuriBayashi will begin. Before you peek through each fragment, Why don't you line up all 50 of them first? Most of them require other fragments, so there are only a few that you can actually look at. Let's try to look at those first. To see the conditions for connecting fragments, just point the cursor at them before anything else, and let's find the ones that you can look at without any conditions. This will be an extremely long and difficult trial. Let me tell you again, Honey challenged this for over 100 years and gave up on it. If you believe in miracles in the same way that your friends do, even if you don't live in the world where they live, if you believe in them. Welcome. Welcome to the... Wait, what? Oops. Did I mess up? I did. No, I messed up. Okay. And this... Wait, hold on. Did I do it right? Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Welcome to the world of Higurashi, Chapter 8, MatsuriBayashi. In this world, you'll be tested to see if you believe in the world that Rika and the others believed in. A miracle only happens when everyone combines their strength. The June 1983 created by Takano is nearly indomitable. She has gathered many people whose powers are beyond the average person to her side, her backers being at the center of national authority. Even if 100 dice all rolled ones, there wouldn't be a chance to defeat her. In other words, a miracle is the only way forward. A miracle happens only when everyone combines their strength, and you are one of them. Sorry, I thought we loaded back on the beginning, so I panicked. Are you ready? I'm more than ready. The key to a long journey is not to pressure yourself too hard. Well, let's take it at a light pace. I'll work my drinking my usual wine. Shall we begin? We have all the time in this world. Alright, so we got Bryn Castle with us. Oh, I should have been reading it in her voice then. My bad. I was confused. You obtain new fragments. Let's see. Connecting fragments. C103 dose experiment. Satoko Hojo's detailed test result is required. Kyosuke Irie's decision is required. H170. The discontinuation of Hojo Satoko's dissection plan is required. Kyosuke Irie's motive to become a doctor is required. The third year of Yashiro's curse is required. Red capsule. Research is going well. A level 5 stage patient's dissection is required. Help from the Queen Carrier is required. The first sacrifice. A live specimen for research is required. Tragedy at a dam construction site is required. The second sacrifice. The death of a construction site manager is required. The hospitalization of Hojo Satoko is required. The third sacrifice. Rika's father being marked as an opportunist is required. Rika's mother's suspicion is required. The fourth sacrifice. The death of Hojo Satoko's aunt is required. Dam construction operation withdrawal. This fragment is required first. Sorry for being late. I had an unusually large amount of patients today. Thank you for coming, Lieutenant Colonel Irie. Tomitake stood up suddenly and saluted when he saw Irie come into the room. Alright, stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel. I'm a doctor. I just can't get used to military ranks. Can you call me Director instead? I understood, Director Irie. Tomitake, of course, knew that Irie didn't like to be called Lieutenant Colonel, so it was something of a joke. They laughed casually together. On the other hand, Takano looked rather fed up with it. She couldn't stand hearing the same joke over and over, and was even thinking about talking to Tomitake about it. But she didn't want to hurt his feelings, so she simply never had the chance. Maybe it's because of how Tomitake pronounces it, but she keeps hearing Risa, Lieutenant Colonel, in Japanese, Nisa. When she heard it that way, she kept hearing Irie Risa every time Tomitake said it. When Takano told Irie about it, he had a good laugh. Today was just a simple meet and greet, and tomorrow was the actual meeting. Tomitake had already arrived. There would be more inspectors from Tokyo at the meeting, waiting to hear more about the progress that had been made. Anyway, I heard the whole village is all in arms about the dam construction project. You can see that again. The village is in such a mess. I participated in the local municipal explanation meeting as an official, but the whole thing was alive with angry shouts and profanities. After the basic Hinamizawa Dam project was announced, the village was consumed with uproar. The government retracted their plans for concession rather early on. They made their aggressive stance clear. They didn't want the locals to take advantage of them by showing their willingness to compromise. However, that backfired horribly. As they had historical ties to the land, the government's actions only made their bonds stronger. Neither the government nor the officials wanted to back down. People from Hinamizawa are rather hot-tempered. Maybe because they're the descendants of demons. It's not funny. That wild meeting lasted all night. I feel your pain. Really, it's not funny, Tomitake. So what's going on with the dam construction? Are they really going to submerge this village? Tokyo is applying their pressure to the situation, too. Things might be clamorous on the surface, but in truth, the supporters behind it are wavering rather hard. I hope their pressure provides effects soon. The whole village is buzzing with action from dusk to dawn. I worry the villagers' minds are growing agitated. Sometimes I have to listen to my patients go on and on about their opinion on the dam construction plan. Why do you even listen to them? You're too nice. I have to. I'm a clinic director first, and a research center director second. It's part of my job to listen to them. That's very nice of you. It's admirable. I know the people in Tokyo will call off the plan sooner or later, but the villagers won't. So they have to live in fear they might be forced to leave a land that they lived for in generations. Even if they're told to leave, they don't have money, and a lot of them are old. Maybe they wanted an increase in the amount of compensation they might be offered. Has the government changed its mind? I don't think it's possible for them to come to a peaceful agreement at this point. There were actually some villagers who were satisfied with that amount or were willing to leave. However, the Sonozaki family didn't want to change their stance against the issue. They're actually leading the villagers' fight against the government. There's a blaring announcement bans everywhere, and ads and flyers are attached to the circulation notices. It's a serious matter for them. I guess I can understand. I hope the construction plan will be called off soon for their sake. Once it's called off, this village will become peaceful again. I know that, of course. Things are moving right along in Tokyo, so please give us a little more time. I heard a rumor from Tokyo that you're having problems finding a way to pressure the Minister of Construction. Is that true? Oh. I'm not sure, but I've heard myself they're having a little problem with some of the details. Takano had people supporting her, but they didn't control all of Japan. There are things that excelled in, but there are things they weren't too good at. Finding a way to put pressure on the Minister of Construction fell into the latter. In all seriousness, though, we really won't be facing any requests to leave this area because of the dam, correct? Of course not. I can guarantee that won't happen. It's just taking longer than we thought, that's all, so please continue research. We were told if that things can't be solved peacefully, then we may have to use drastic measures. Drastic measures? What do you mean, Tomitake? You don't need to worry about that part, Director Irie. Please let us take care of it. I see. Okay. Thank you for your work. It's fine, Director Irie. The dam construction plan will be called off. It's already been decided. As Takano giggled, Tomitake laughed too. However, Irie didn't understand what was so funny, so he felt left out. Irie only understood the meaning of those drastic measures when he examined a young boy he'd never seen in the village before. You mean in Himatsubushi Hen? Alright. A quarry in Yaogochi. Help from the queen carrier is required. Distrust of a mother of a queen. Results in the research on C-103 and H-107 are required. The truth about Shirakawa Park incident is required. Requesting assistance from a queen. The research needs to have been stagnated. Instructions for the kidnapping operation of the minister's son are required. A murder with a dismembered body. Repetitive apologies are required. An accident at Shirakawa Park. Hojo Satoshi must not be allowed to visit his sister at the clinic. Hojo Satoshi's sense of responsibility as a big brother is required. The mysterious death of the Furude couple. An execution order for the third year's course is required. A declaration war from Kurado Oishi is required. The death of Satoshi's aunt. A bat to beat her to death is required. Irie's background. Kyosuke Irie's reminiscence is required. Kyosuke Irie. This fragment is required first. Okay. Group physical exams are very meaningful for our research. Although it's only for certain age groups, we can examine many of the Hinamizawa residents at the same time. It's a perfect cover for our research center. Also, because of several arrangements, we have a monopoly of the villagers' corpses and can perform autopsies on them too. There certainly wasn't an environment this rich in opportunity for those in the medical field. Our follow-up on the work of the late Dr. Takano is going smoothly. The amount of data he compiled is absolutely astounding. He truly was an incredible researcher. Excuse me, Director. Oh, Takano. Thanks for your work. We just received the rest of the test results from Tokyo. Here they are. Thank you. It's getting interesting, isn't it? I'm glad we can share this joy. Takano is my assistant who was sent from the Self-Defense Force. But she's far from the image I have of an SCF officer. Just like her research is being concealed. Maybe her identity is being concealed too. I'm sure her name is an alias as well. I'm just a doctor and a researcher. Without Takano's support, it'd be impossible for me to manage this institution. By the way, for those of you who don't know anything about how Takano's name is written, okay. How can people think Takano and Takano be two different, not related? It's because of like the kanji, you know, the Chinese characters that are used in the Japanese alphabet thing. It's written differently. So, yeah. That, just like, for example, I'll give an example of like the Chinese last name Wang can be written in a different ways. Okay? It can be the character for yellow. It can be the character for, I believe, like, for the king, in the sense like a royal thing. It depends on how you write it. But there's more than one way to write it. So, that's for those who don't know. Sorry I had to interject. But it's not that important. She's a pipeline to her clients in Tokyo, my assistant, as well as a researcher who's an expert on the Hinamizawa syndrome. Her existence is absolutely necessary here. The more that I think about it, the more I feel this should have been the Takano Institute rather than the Irie Institute, and she should have been the director. But that was explained to me when they asked me to take this position. My client wanted a civilian to manage this place, They searched for a person who met their requirements, and there I was, and I became the director. I have a feeling I'm just a puppet on their strings. Well, you'd be right. But I won't just sit here and do nothing. I was asked to research a rare disease. I'm a researcher, so of course I'm excited about that. My client's goals might be different, but I'm here out on the desire to unravel the mysteries of Higurashi syndrome and be the first person to uncover a new mystery for mankind. We have all this data that suggests the existence of a parasite as well as the cause of the syndrome. Yet we still can't find any factual evidence of the culprit microbe itself. That's true. I thought we'd find it easily if we just use an electron microscope. Viruses are too small to see with a regular microscope. The invention of the electron microscope was a dramatic advancement in the world of medicine. However, it's very expensive. There's no way for a normal doctor to acquire one. The late Dr. Takano said an electron microscope could find the cause of the disease. It seems his theory has been proven wrong. Even Takano was hoping an electron microscope would find it. She was disappointed when she didn't uncover anything after all the autopsies she performed. Our research seems to be having its first snag. It actually stalled work for several weeks now. We need to think about where to go from here. It means they're either smaller than microscopic, or maybe there's something wrong with the specimen itself. What do you mean? For example, as you know, wild mice have tons of fleas on them. But you can't find fleas on dead mice. That's because when the mouse dies, their habitat dies as well. So if the host dies, the parasite's world will end too. That's right. Just like you won't find a living human in a post-apocalyptic world. Therefore, we have to look into the earth before it ends, right? That's true. However, we need to think about human rights. It's hard to look into a brain while the patient is still alive. Examining a living human's brain, no matter how you sugarcoated it, that bore a very grave meaning. From a medical standpoint, it's necessary. But we have rules and morals in this world. We have to advance medicine within such boundaries. There's time I was studying lobotomies for the betterment of mankind. I don't think I was wrong. However, could I ever be forgiven under our ideas of ethics? I don't know. One day my judgment will be handed down by the devil, whether I'm guilty or not. I have to accept it. As I reflected upon my past, I heard a voice. It was Takano's. It was very clear and simple, yet it struck me with surprise. Understood. Let me prepare a world on the verge of death. What? I'm startled. Sometimes the phrase advancing medicine bore the whisper of a devil, tempting us to accept sacrifices. I heard that devil whisper. It's not that difficult. I just have to find a Higurashi resident who's about to die, that's all. But even if they're about to die, who would be brave enough to provide their body for research while still alive? Don't worry about that. If they're dying anyway, we're just going to put them to sleep a little sooner. On paper, of course. The patient who'd be legally declared dead, even though they're still alive, and we perform an autopsy while they're still alive. That's impossible! Besides, if we perform neurological surgery, we have to do a circular incision in the cranial area. Their family will notice the marks for sure. That's where we come in. I'll have the mountain dogs look for a patient in the local hospital that matches our needs immediately. All you have to do is wait with a knife and fork in your hands. I'll bring your meal right away. Takano Mio is my partner. There's no question about that, but I just can't trust her. His extremities as a researcher, which contrast largely with mine. But are we so different? I'm here simply waiting with a knife and a fork in my hands just as she told me to. I just don't want to witness such a gruesome scene, that's all. What she's preparing for me now is exactly what I want. Who's the hypocrite? Not her, it's me. How can I say I'm different knowing what I've done in the past? I performed lobotomies without the patient's consent. despite it being the surgery that might affect their life forever. How is that different from what she's doing? I never doubted my past achievements. However, when I look at her, I start to feel unease. Takano is talking to Okanogi on the intercom of my office. I'm sure she's telling him to come over so she can explain to him what we just discussed. I'm simply watching without stopping her. I begin to reflect upon my past, to remember why I chose to become a doctor. A routine inspection. Prior consent for a collection of cerebrospinal fluid is required. Disappointment. The death of Koizumi is required. Deja vu. Completion of the medicine C117 is required. 1, 2, 3, 4. Furude Rika's high fever is required. Jiro Tomitake's slight fever is required. Jiro Tomitake. This fragment is required first. The forecast said that there was a chance of rain in the evening. But I didn't think it would rain so hard. We decided to wait at the abandoned bus stop for the rain clouds to clear. I'm so sorry, Takano. Oh, don't be, Jiro. I knew it would pour, so don't worry about it. Takano giggled. Although she said the weather might change, I suddenly dragged her out here. I feel stupid for asking her to come along and ended up ruining her precious day off. I have to go back to Tokyo tonight, so it'll be a while before I can return to Hinamizawa. I didn't want to spend my last day at a cheap hotel in Okinomiya, so I asked her to go on a stroll. It's just, I'm really sorry. She teased me for a while, but only a little. She wasn't actually enjoying driving me into a corner. That's just her way of communicating, and I find it very charming. I think I've become captivated by her, but on her part, I'm just an otter from Tokyo. That's why she's being nice to me, and it's definitely not because she likes me personally. So I feel like I might have used my position to drag her out here. It makes me a little depressed. I probably should think the slight fever I have is due to nothing more than a cold. But she was the type of person who made it clear when she disliked something. She wouldn't say it directly, but she would use all types of indirect expressions that meant the same thing. So I wanted to believe that she's out here because she might even be a little bit attracted to me. I shook my head as I frowned upon my selfish thoughts. She chuckled as if she knew I was thinking. I felt myself starting to go red after that. You're a mysterious person, Jiro. I bet women don't leave you alone, huh? So why are you out here hanging out with a weirdo like me? A weirdo? No way! You're fascinating, Takano! Actually, I feel bad for making you spend a day with someone like me. Of course I decided to devote my life to my work, but life is too dry with only that. I need to switch gears once in a while. Besides, communicating with the opposite sex is also good for the brain. It's all good if I manage to help you clear your head. Don't you feel refreshed just by being with me? She gives me an impish smile that makes my heart skip a beat. I tried hiding my embarrassment so she wouldn't notice even my ears going red. Of course, when I'm with you, I do feel refreshed, yeah? Besides, if you learn about avian photography, I'd gain a buddy to share my hobby with. So, next time I bring my old camera, it's really expensive to buy a new one, you know? Thank you. I'd love to learn about the avian photography that you're so intrigued by. I'm looking forward to joining you on a stroll next time you go. So I don't need to buy a camera, do I? No! Try it with my old camera first. And if you enjoy it, you can buy one for yourself. I'll send it to you when I get back to Tokyo. Thank you. Then I'll have you critique my photos when you come next time. Sure! I can hardly wait to see them. They'd be nothing compared to yours. It'd be my very first time doing it, you know. But she keeps her cool and smiles. All I can do is blush and scratch my head. Am I being conceited? I can't help but think that Takano likes being with me. If it's mere flattery, I don't think she'd come along this far. Oh, no. Taking women's flattery seriously is a mistake I always make. I shouldn't assume that she's attracted to me. By the way, isn't this the first time we've been alone like this? Yeah, you're right. Usually the director or some other research staff is around. I don't know anything about you. I don't know exactly what you do in Tokyo or what you've done in the past. I wonder what you do in the self-defense force. I was an instructor for a while, but I hurt my eye when I was injured. I can live life normally, but they made a big deal about it, and all I can do now is desk work. Takano giggled, saying I must have done something silly to cause the injury. And when I helped PR with their magazine, I became fascinated by photography. Cameras have the power to make people happy. I bet you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's true. Since I started to take pictures, my life's become a lot happier. How can a camera make someone happy? Well, a camera takes a snapshot from a moment of life. Of course you want to capture a moment that's filled with happiness, right? So you look for happiness through the viewfinder, and as you search, you realize your everyday life is actually filled with happiness. For example, a dandelion sprouting from a crack of the asphalt is just a weed in a busy life, but when we look at it through the viewfinder, it's a gift to let you know that spring is approaching. You capture it and put it in an album. Every time you open the album, you remember the happy feeling you had when you took the picture. So you always feel that way when you take your pictures? Sure. I don't have ambitions of taking artistic photos or capturing a dramatic prize-winning moment. That's not the most important part to me. I want those moments we don't notice. And helping us recognize those little moments of happiness is the greatest thing about cameras to me. So I'm really glad to see Hinamizawa through my viewfinder. I have a tendency to go overboard when I talk, but most of the time Takano playfully twists my words right back at me. It's very unusual for her to listen to me like this. Takano sat down next to me and tried to fiddle with my camera. I don't know how much of an impression I made, but I think she is indeed interested in cameras. I was expecting her to tease me like usual, so I'm happy to see this is her reaction. Do you want to try? Do you think I can? It's easy. First, you need to learn how to focus and press the shutter. Why don't you hold it? Oh, don't ever touch the lens, though. This isn't easy. Since you seem to show an interest in cameras, I wanted to take a walk around Hinamizawa and take some pictures of the scenery. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem that the rain wants to stop. But she was still having fun and kept taking pictures inside the bus stop. Hinamizawa bus stop, I'm sorry. I had to make a dumb joke. The first set of pictures she's ever took were odd things in a dark little building. Since then, every time we meet, we ended up walking around the village with our cameras in our hands. The old guy. The death of the dam construction site manager is required. A roll of one. A bottle of wine for a toast is required. Tomitake Jiro's promise is required. The draft of the emergency manual is required. A local explanatory meeting. This fragment is required first. So the dam construction will bring in new jobs and revitalize the local industry. That's not what we're saying. Who the hell gave you permission to build a dam here? You squeeze tax money from us, and this is what we get in return? Who do you think pays your salaries, huh? Look, we're trying to explain to you. We don't want to hear your excuses. We want to know when you'll stop the construction. You're all useless. Bring the Minister of Construction here. He'll get to the bottom of it. Shut up, you yuppie. Hey, you're paying with our tax money, so why the hell are you talking down to from us from up there? Come on down here and let us speak face to face. The auditorium is filled with angry shouting. The sign at the entrance says, Hinamizawa Dam Construction Explanatory Meeting. Every time the official on stage tried to say anything, the citizens packed into the room and silenced him with their shouts. Trying to ignore them, the official continued to explain the pros of the dam. That just further infuriated them. Between the stage and the citizens, there was an open area where the police squad is standing by. If they weren't there, the citizens would jump into the stage and start a riot. I'm watching all of this back from the back of the auditorium. It's obvious to anyone they're being swallowed up by their anger. They become filled with bloody red rage. The anger that came from a certain purpose becomes a purpose in itself, and it creates a vicious cycle, where anger leads to more anger. Anger is a necessary emotion for humans. People face many difficulties in their lives. Anger gives them motivation to fight and conquer such difficulties. Therefore, anger is an essential part of life itself. So I will never reject anger itself. However, anger like this, that goes far beyond normal, makes people forget their purpose. That is no longer an essential part of life. As the blood rushes to their head, a person can't even remember what they've done, and they go out of control. Such emotions are very painful and sad and difficult to endure. I can clearly see the villagers who live alongside us turning into demons. I understand the rules of the human world. The power of an individual can't compare to the power of the government. To be able to fight, an individual needs to become a larger unified power. But to steer that unified power in the right direction is extremely difficult. The cycle of anger leads to more anger. Not anger that helps you live, but anger that exists only for anger. It's just like being a demon, and this emotion is capable of violently rousing us for our long, peaceful slumber. Everyone is immersed in their own anger. We lived peacefully with the villagers while we slept quietly. Yet now we've awakened, and it's like the world is trying to return to that age when the demons were said to rise from Oniofuji Swamp. I keep shouting at everyone to get them to calm down, but my voice can't reach them because of the vicious cycle of anger. Even so, I'll continue shouting, hoping that even one of them will hear my voice. Even if I don't do anything, the demons may awaken. The demons that went into a deep sleep may reawaken because of this commotion. Then all of a sudden, the atmosphere changed. Looking up, I saw the angry exchange between villagers and those on the podium had devolved into a confrontation between the villagers themselves. What's going on? Shut up! Those are your reasons, not ours. Don't pull us into this, you old hag. Who the hell cares? What the hell you say, you bastard? Hey. You know who you're talking to, Oreo? Think you got some nerve. Who the hell do you think you are? Shut up! Sonozaki, so what? I'm Hojo. Get your guns away from me! Hey, Hojo. How dare you say what you want to this village wants to be submerged? How much are they paying you? I messed up. Shut up, you old geezer. Listen, there are plenty of poor people in Hinamizawa. Now everyone's rich and has fields all over the mountain like you do. I'm satisfied with the compensation for the government. They even offer to provide us with public housing, and yet you're ruining everything, you assholes. Don't pretend you're the same as us. If you want to fight with the government, why don't you fight by yourself? Then who's gonna pay? You? I'm poor and I have 2 kids at home. I was planning to start a new life by leaving here in peace after getting compensation from the government and finding a job elsewhere. But you, since when you represent me, huh? You think you're important or what? Hey, Hojo! How dare you betray us? Hey, get out of this village! Sure, I'd be happy to, but you're gonna pay what I'm entitled to, right? You're gonna pay me every yen of compensation I was going to get from the government, even if I wanted to leave the village. I don't have the money. If you're gonna pay me, then I'll leave straight away. Hojo's right. There's plenty of residents that are willing to leave. You 3 families shouldn't drag us into this. The hell is this? Who just spoke? Come on, who was it? If you want to stay, then stay. We have the right to leave, so don't interfere. That's right. Back the hell off, you damn Sonozaki hag. Of course, we'll compensate the people who support the dam construction plan. We almost certainly will not steal the land from you. Shut up, government dog! Are you trying to divide the village? Die, Hojo! You don't deserve to breathe the village air. Hold your breath and suffocate to death. Screw you, old hag! I'll murder your ass! Step in front, you damn hag! Hey! Stay out of this! Very good. That was very good, Hojo. I haven't been this pissed off in so long. You get what you deserve! Look forward to it. Get him, Hojo! The government has surprised new job, shelter, and compensation. Hey, stop this violence. All you stop it. Like hell, bring it on. Come and get some. Everyone is being tainted with the bloody red anger, and I can only watch. The least I can do is apologize for the tragedy that's about to happen. I'm sorry. This is how things started. From this day onward, the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family will wage a feud against each other, and the Hojo family will become ostracized within the village. This marks the beginning of Sadako and Satoshi's lives of tremendous hardship. I should have read it in Hanyu's voice. Sorry, I got confused. Depression of a Shinto priest. Rika and Sadako's shopping trip is required. The Shinto priest attacking the Erie institution is required. Suffering of a big brother. Rock candy as a treat is required. Hojo Sadako's detailed test result is required. The Hojo siblings. A conflict between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family is required. The self-introduction of Hojo Sadako is required. Hojo Satoshi. This fragment is required first. When I asked Rika, she said Sadako might have possibly gone up the mountain behind the shrine. She's fond of going there. That mountain is covered in with trees, vines, and fallen logs, and she really likes the area. Any child would dream of having a secret base. And to Sadako, her secret base is the whole mountain. However, the mountains were underdeveloped territory, making them a dangerous place that was easy to get lost in. As her brother, I'm a little concerned that she spends so much time on it. But maybe I should worry more about myself getting lost, since I rarely come here. The mountain gets dark quickly when the evening falls. If I still can't find her, I should look for her somewhere else. Sadako! Sadako! I'm yelling as loud as I can, but in the woods, my voice doesn't carry that well. According to Rika, she's been making her secret base in this area. She goes up there alone to expand it. What does she mean by expand it? If it's a secret base, she must not want anyone to find it. Does that mean she's setting up some traps? Considering that, I should have noticed the traps on the mountain before one got me. Suddenly, my foot sunk to the ground and snagged on something like a jump rope tied beneath dried leaves. I heard some noise from above, and a big ball made a bunch of branches fell right next to me. It had to be one of the playful traps that Sadako loved. If I wasn't so lucky, I'm sure the ball would have hit my head.
Oh my! Look who's here! It's you, Nini!
Sadako! No! This kind of horseplay is dangerous!
Did you not see the sign put up by the Forestry Service? It clearly states it's dangerous to those who come into these woods. My wonderful trust will welcome anyone who ignores that warning.
As her brother, I should stop her from doing these things, but when I see her brilliant smile, I can't say anything else, and I haven't seen that smile in some time. By the way, Sadako, weren't you told to come home by evening since we're going out for dinner tonight?
I don't want to go. Why don't our mother and father go by themselves? If you want to, you can go with them, Nini.
Are you still angry at father?
He threw an ashtray at me.
No, that happened with our previous father. Our current one hasn't done that.
He locked me out on the veranda. He didn't feed me lunch. He complained I got him the wrong brand of cigarettes, and then he slapped my face saying I shouldn't be a picky eater. And then...
She isn't talking about our current stepfather. Things about all our different stepfathers have mixed themselves up in her head. Every time my mother remarried, we had to call a different man our father. The word father isn't a word that should be taken lightly. If you don't truly acknowledge a man as your father, how can you call him that? That's how much weight it carries. However, just to make things smooth and peaceful, I used the word father, even if I didn't want to. But it was too difficult for Sadako, as young as she was, to do the same. Ever since Sadako was very little, she's been having troubles with all their stepfathers. She's never opened up to the current one. To Sadako, a father figure is no longer someone she can trust. It's true that our current stepfather doesn't have any experience being a parent, so he sometimes gets rather upset with her. But ever since the incident where Sadako called the child abuse hotline, our stepfather regretted his mistakes, and he tried his best to communicate with her. Even my mother realized how much Sadako has suffered emotionally. When it was pointed out by the social worker, she's doing her part in trying to bring Sadako back into the family, but Sadako completely refuses to even try. It's understandable, though. Her childhood has been filled with misery. Sadako can only open up to me. That's why I have to be the only one, and the only one family member she can trust. Otherwise, she'll be all alone in this world. But a brother and a sister alone can't be considered a family, even if we don't get along now. If we continue to communicate, even in a small way, we may be able to become a real family someday. Sadako, our current stepfather is getting nicer. He says he wants to make it up with you.
That's news to me.
That's because every time he tries to say something, you run away. He wants to talk to you. He says he won't make you eat pumpkin anymore.
That's a lie! He said I couldn't leave until I ate my pumpkin, and he tied me to the chair!
Again, she isn't talking about our current stepfather. Sadako, just come home with me, okay? Mother got a free dinner coupon, and we don't want it to go to waste, do we? We already have the reservation, so we have to go today.
Why don't you go, Nini? I prefer staying home alone.
Sadako usually doesn't stay out playing this late. She knows we're going out, and that's why she's out here alone. Although I want to snap at Sadako, I controlled myself, because she only has me. I can't scare her. Please, let's go home, Sadako. You don't have to decide to go or not right now. You can think about it after we get there. Besides, without your help, I can't find my way down the mountain.
Nini, I've brought you here so many times already, and yet you still haven't learned. What am I going to do with you, Nini?
Sadako holds out her hand. She often says she's embarrassed to hold my hand in front of people, but she's holding out her hand right now. I took that hand. Sadako's fragile hand. I have to protect her as her big brother. Let's go home, Sadako.
Sure.
A notice of leave of absence. Hojo Satoshi's part-time job is required. Footsteps following Hojo Satoshi are required. Footsteps in the 4th year. Hojo Satoshi's awareness of his sins are required. The forgiveness of Rugu Rena's sins is required. Preview of lots is for sale. The Rugu family's move is required. The 4th year's curse is required. New wind. The Rugu family's move is required. A watermelon from the Sonozaki is required. Formation of a club. Hojo Satoshi's awareness of his sins is required. The mysterious death of the Furude couple is required. Maibara Keiichi, the tea set on the veranda being put away is required. Maibara Ichiro inspecting a vacant lot is required. Rugu Rena, a red capsule is required. Sonozaki Mion, strawberry milk candy is required. Hojo Sadako, this fragment is required first.
My name is Hojo Sadako, but Hojo is my current father's family name. I was also Hataki Sadako, Yoshizawa Sadako, and also Matsuda Sadako because of my previous fathers. But I'm still not used to being called Hojo. If someone calls me Sadako, then I know that person's talking to me. Because Sadako is the name I've been using since I was born. I don't understand why my mother keeps getting married and divorced. If she's going to get a divorce, why does she get married? If she's married, why does she get a divorce? I asked her before, but depending on the situation, her answers were different. When I asked her when she was married, she got angry. When I asked her when she got divorced, she cried. I don't understand the meaning of marriage, so I have no interest in drawing pictures of a bride in a wedding dress. I don't think I'll ever get married. I don't want to keep changing my child's last name. My teacher once asked if I liked my mother. I think it was when I was in kindergarten Okinomiya. That was a very difficult question, because sometimes I loved her very much, and sometimes I hated her very much. I couldn't decide. When my mother was nice, she smiled all the time. She made us happy. She thanked me for being her daughter. When my mother wasn't nice, she frowned all the time. She treated my brother and me very poorly. She told me I should have never been born. My teacher asked me if I liked my father. That was a very easy question, because I always hated him very much, no matter who he was. The new fathers always treated me nicely at first, as if I was their real daughter. They always told me I could think of them as my real father, but they couldn't be my real father. Besides, I didn't even know my real father's face. How could I call them my father? I couldn't. That was disgusting. Right before divorce, my fathers always became very irritated with me. They treated me like a cockroach. They told me they didn't have money to feed me, and they threw things at me, and they locked me out of the veranda. I was told I'd forget about them because that was all in the past. I think that was a different teacher from the different school. Maybe that was true, because ever since Hojo became my father, my mother has been smiling. I haven't seen them get into a fight as I've seen them happen just before a divorce. They have little arguments here and there, but those don't lead to a divorce, and they always make up. But I'm sure that they'll get a divorce sooner or later. Then it'll be the same old stuff with the family court, divorce settlements, a night flight, and child support. So who knows how long this Hojo will be my father. That's why I don't even feel like calling him that. He also treated me very well at first, but when I didn't call him father, even after he asked me repeatedly, he became irritated. They'll get a divorce soon, and when my father gets into this mood, a divorce is on the way. After a divorce, it's my mother's turn to be irritated with me, and then she'll tell me I shouldn't have had me, or she can't be happy because of me. Why is my existence causing problems for my mother? I asked my brother, and he told me, if you have children, it's not easy to find someone to get married with. To my mother, remarriage is a very important job, so I can understand having children around will cause problems. I think I finally understand the reason why I'm a nuisance to her. I asked my brother something else. Why are children hated by new fathers? Well, that's simple. That's because family members all have different roles. A mother's job is to love her children, and a father's job is to love the mother. That means I'm a nuisance to both my mother and my father. My brother is more mature than me, so they don't have to look down on him as a nuisance. But maybe I am... No, I definitely am a nuisance. So now I know. Both my father and mother want me dead. But if they kill me, they'll get caught. That doesn't mean they won't kill me. If I were to look down on the cliff, and if no one was around, my mother and father would push me off for sure. My father has become abnormally nice to me recently. He started to act that way ever since I made that fake call. I know for sure it's just a part of the plot to kill me, so I won't let them trick me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Lately, when I listen very carefully, I can hear a voice apologizing.
Oh, wait, that was Hanyu. I'm sorry.
That voice sounds similar to mine. Her mother must be telling her that she shouldn't have been born. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I won't apologize like that. I'll live. I'm going to strike back, and I'll kill before I get killed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's Hanyu. That's Hanyu dealing with that. In other words, it should be very obvious what Sadako did and what the answer to the second curse might actually be. Alright. We'll go through these fragments later. How do I reach the menu? Furude Rika, a conflict between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family, is required. Oh, okay, hold on. June 1983. The Revenge of Takanomiya is required. Maibara Keiichi changing schools is required. An invitation to the end. A raw sea urchin and vitamin A are required. A big teddy bear is required. She needs moral support. A fragment of Himatsubushi. The game board must be set up. A fragment of Onikakushi. A fragment of Sumihoroboshi. A fragment from Onikakushi chapter is required. A fragment of Watanagashi. A fragment of Meikashi. A fragment of Watanagashi chapter is required. A fragment of Tatarigoroshi. A fragment of Minagoroshi. A fragment of Tatarigoroshi chapter is required. A fragment of MatsuriBayashi. 7 fragments are required. Okay, so right now, we're gonna start from here. So Rika Furude. Sorry, I was just making sure we did that correctly. Okay. And alright, we're done tonight. Bye. It's just the fragment stuff, okay?